Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to, before I play this video, I want to let everybody know where I'm coming from on not just crypto right now, but the markets in general. Now, first, I'm especially talking to you young people who haven't learned from a lot of hard knocks. And I'm going to explain to you the way I'm thinking right now. Okay. Yesterday we had the stock market crash. We had inflation. They're increasing interest rates because of the massive inflation. These people have been, while all of us common sense people have been telling them for 15 years, stop printing money and go ahead and raise interest rates to a reasonable level now before it's too late. Instead, the Federal Reserve, which knows more than everybody, right? Because they went to Ivy League schools, so they're by default smarter than all of us, right? Yeah. Well, these people, instead of you applying any kind of common sense over time and just doing this on a gradual basis, now they're completely backed into a corner so that we have to have some blood in the streets, okay? So what I'm doing, because I've been through, I'll tell you what well, my father, who is the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, he always told me the horror stories of the Jimmy Carter days where interest rates were up into the 10% and all of that stuff, and that's how he came up. And then as I grew up, we saw the dot-com boom, the dot-com bust. Then we saw the world trade. I'm not allowed in this crazy, sick United States of America we're in now. I'm not even allowed to talk about what I was about to say just now. Just so you know, if you think if you think there's freedom of speech in the United States, some sick stuff going on. But anyway, let's skip that. Then we had the 2008 financial crisis, and there's been all kinds of, there's been a few recessions and all. Let me tell you what I'm doing, because I've seen all these movies. And the crypto thing, yeah, we are in the process of a changeover to this digital world, but that doesn't mean that these sickos who are behind this change and all of the sickos that are behind all of these backroom secret meetings and all that have tried to engineer this, and the sickos like Gary Gensler who are being controlled by Wall Street and JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and those types, it doesn't mean that these people are not going to engineer this in the way that they want, and who knows, maybe create intentional bloodshed. Well, the way that I'm going to protect myself, because I've seen these movies, first thing is that I'm going to be flush with cash, because if things get bad in the interim as this thing transitions, then cash is king. Even though I know that the U.S. dollar sucks and it shouldn't even be the world reserve currency, because the U.S. has lost that right. They've squandered that through their actions and the way they've conducted themselves financially and the debt that we have on. But I can tell you this, listen to me closely. I will make sure I have tons of cash. Cash gives you staying power. You have to have staying power if this thing goes south, because staying power is what will allow me to keep my XRP and my crypto that I know is going to specifically my XRP, but the XRP, the XLM, the things that I know I don't want to sell ever. The way that you have the staying power, or the way I'm doing it, plenty of cash. You got it, and then I'm buying gold. I'm buying these dips too, as long as I have plenty of staying power cash. Okay, I'm buying these dips into XRP and XLM. That's the mentality, because when the what hits the fan, cash is the name of the game, folks. Even though I went into the last financial crisis, I had a decent amount of cash, but I was sitting there thinking, well, this dollar's worthless. And so, why, do I need a lot of cash or what? Well, what I found out, unless you can predict the exact day of the demise of the dollar, you've got to cash is king, period. Okay, now, so that's the most important thing that you can do is make sure, and I'm not talking about you, I'm not a financial advisor myself. I am making sure I have plenty of cash to weather whatever storm that there could be, because when when you're seeing now they're talking about jobs being lost and all that. All right, so I'm done with that rant, but I'm just telling everybody out there, do not underestimate what I just said. So watch this video, because fear seems to happen fast.
After we get the number, which should be hitting momentarily, Rick Santelli.
Yes, it should be hitting momentarily, and we keep our fingers crossed that these data points come through. I would just, as we get ready, I still don't see the numbers coming across the wires. Remember that it was in 2000 that the NASDAQ first traded over 5,000. It took another 15 years to get back over it after the tech wreck. Still don't see the numbers populating yet. Here we go. We're starting to see things trickle in. I can tell you right now that the unemployment rate moved from 3.6 and stayed at 3.6. So we're still hovering at some very lofty levels. And I do want to...
All right, I'm not going to make you listen to that anymore, but I'm just going to tell you, my plan's real simple. Once I have the kind of cash cushion that I want, which I'm pretty close to, that's when I focus on buying while there's blood in the streets. The excess on top that goes above my cash cushion is all for buying dips. That's the name of the game. That's how the big boys make their money. You better believe the J.P. Morgans of the world and the Warren Buffetts are sitting on tons of cash because they know how this game works. All right, I hope I didn't rant too much, but what I just spent 5 minutes saying is it might be some of the best advice, especially some of you young people, ever get. Trust me on that. John Deaton says, still waiting on for Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan to give Gary Gensler permission to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. They've approved Valkyrie's Bitcoin futures ETF. I've said for a long time that if there is a Bitcoin ETF, it's going to be given to one of the big boys. That's why Gary Gensler is there. He's there to be patted on the head, and I'll bet you if I was putting my money on it, I would say that all these guys that control Gary Gensler, they laugh at him behind closed doors, and they're like, "Yeah, oh yeah, I can just see him now. Oh yeah, just tell Gary what he's got to do." And Gary probably feels like he's a big shot going out and doing their bidding for him, but Gary's nothing but a toady, and everybody knows it. And that guy, I just can't imagine that being my existence, being that guy. Being a little, it's the B word. Watcher guru. Just in, analysts predict XRP will surpass $2.50 by December following the outcome of the lawsuit. Now, what this is they said they've got 36 experts. Some of them, had the same old, XRP's worthless and all that. But the majority, I think, were thinking that there would be this kind of number after. In my opinion, this kind of number might be peanuts if the lawsuit comes out on Ripple's side. Now, there's one point that Linda Jones is kind of touching on here. Linda P. Jones, she's kind of touching on here that I want to make sure a lot of people understand. Yesterday, and this is also a lesson about what's going on. When things really hit the fan, there's really nowhere to hide. I mean, like in 2008, when everything got hit, everybody was going for the exits, and when they were putting their money in cash, and so everything was getting slaughtered. They were just going to cash. It was stocks, bonds, it was gold, it was everything. They were selling so that they could have liquidity to weather the storm. And it won't be any different this time, okay? And so but here's something I was not participating in at the time. I am now, but I've found this to be true. when the stock market is correcting, it's a great idea to invest in private equity and buy shares in businesses wholesale that will go public later, especially when they give you free XRP. Now, she's referring to Link2, but my point is that all that bloodshed you saw yesterday, if I log into my Link2 account and I look at my private equity, it's solid as a rock. It's just sitting there. You don't have the same liquid market that you do in the stock market, but it's kind of a good feeling to log in and see what you own sitting there at the same price. And it can't be underestimated what that feels like. Okay. And by the way, Nick Burafedo put this out, Link2 weekend 150, get $1,000 in XRP for any, that's right, any investment on the Link2 platform Friday through Sunday. This is a great way to diversify your Link2 portfolio, limited to the first 150 investments made. So choose, click, and invest now. And they did a little interview. We haven't heard a lot out of Uphold lately. I don't know if you've noticed that. This is JP Tirrett from Uphold. Listen to this clip that was an interview with Nick Burafedo of Link2. I need to hit the refresh button on that.
Digital assets, there are, the more complex operating in the vernacular of trading pairs becomes, right? And so when there's 12,000 fungible assets and now, an infinity of non-fungible assets, you're never going to get a Bored Apes, Yacht Club, Apple, or Apple options pair. It's a literal impossibility. So that metaphor we came up with was very profound. And I think people take it for granted, but it was pretty bloody profound, and it gets more and more useful the more the world of digital assets expands. This next thing we're launching is that nature of clever innovation. It's meant to take wildly complex transactions and make them as simple as 2 swipes of your finger. Again, we haven't, it hasn't gone through enough QA for me to say, holy shit, this thing is unreal, but at least we're trying to produce stuff with that level of impact.
And by the way, Uphold is on the Link2 platform. So yesterday, Tom Emmer had tweeted this about Gary Gensler. The SEC's announcement to nearly double the size of its crypto enforcement unit does not seem very technology neutral.
I think anybody in a job like the one I'm in should be technology neutral. We're not policy neutral, though.
And I said, he's Ethereum neutral. We can't get him to tell us one way or another whether it's a security, Tom Emmer. Then Brad Garlinghouse had a tweet yesterday. I spoke alongside New York City Mayor at the Milken Institute yesterday about how the influx of crypto talent and capital is transforming cities and states like New York City, Miami, Wyoming, and California, who are seeking to create a welcome environment for innovation despite the lack of a federal framework. And he said the support of pro-innovation stances of local mayors and state governors has been absolutely instrumental to bring in droves of talent from Wall Street and big tech, and they are reaping the benefits. Let's see what we got next here. All right, I think I'm going to leave the Hinman stuff alone. I'll touch that in the next video. I do want to remind you all that Clinton Donnelly, a lot of you have just done your taxes. Clinton Donnelly, he's the crypto tax fixer. You can give him a follow at Crypto Tax Fixer. He has crypto tax audit, and if you've done your taxes, he has early warning and audit defense, which are 2 packages where he can help you with a potential audit or an actual audit. So go check it out. He's at cryptotaxaudit.com. I'll put this at the top of the description of this video. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that I am protecting my friends and my family, and I am making sure I have a good cash cushion, because when I see all this fear being sold on CNBC that they should have been warning us about 10 years ago instead of towing the line for the central banks, it makes me a little queasy, and so I go into